Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. It's episode 236. It is December, and I am Zachy Hassan. Who are you?
I'm Brian Hall.
Well, how's it going, Brian?
It's going really good. And
it's been busy.
Yeah, it's been extremely busy, just personally, professionally, and I know, for both of us, we have a lot going on. And so I texted you actually a couple nights ago, and I was like, I miss you, Zachy.
And it warmed the cockles of my heart when I got that text.
Yeah, I was just sitting there like, man, it's been too long. I definitely miss this, so I'm happy to be back here.
And just trying to get on mic today was a bit of a sojourn, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I worked right up until the minute we started, and I'll be working as soon as we hop off. So,
it's dedication, y'all.
Yeah, well, love of the game,
So how was your Thanksgiving week?
Oh, it was great. Went to New York to be with Federica's family, and that was really lovely. I mean, the first Thanksgiving I've spent with them, and they have their traditions and they have the family friends, and just getting to meet some of these people. I've heard their names, and everybody was great. Meal was great, and just getting to be somewhere where it's cold for
That's
late
new.
Fall, early winter. Yeah, being out in Los Angeles, you come back and there was actually a little bit of when it was 80 degrees. But getting to, walk through Central Park wearing a coat and seeing your breath, I don't know. I know it's not for everybody, but I like it every now and then. What about you? I mean, do you miss seasons?
I can't say that I do, to be honest. That was part of the reason I left Chicago, right? I was shoveling the driveway after another, just a downpour of snow.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the moment where I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. And after I was done shoveling, I went into work. I said, I'm giving you my 2-week notice. And I was in California 2.5 weeks later.
Wow.
That's a true story.
Wow.
So I've been back to Chicago sparsely in winter months, and I like it never.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something to it. I mean, where I live, about 90 minutes or less away, there's a place called Mount Baldy, and if you go up high enough, there's snow on the ground in the winter months, and at least once a year I'll go up there just because. I like trudging around in it a little bit, get some coffee at a place.
Making snow angels.
Where it's warm again. Yes, snow angels. Yeah, exactly. Make a little snowman. Looks like you and me,
Yeah, yeah, I don't miss this. See, I just have too many memories of like, when your car has been out in the snow and you're trying to start it, and there's the moment between you turning the key and the car starting that feels like 50 years,
right,
because you just don't know if it'll start, and you have those moments where it's absolutely terrifying. So I don't my kids will be like, when can we see snow? I'm like, when you're grown up and you can buy your plane ticket and go wherever the hell snow is.
Yeah. So, no, I don't miss parking at work, working all day, and then coming out to find your car covered in ice.
Ugh, right?
Right? And so you're like, okay. So you go in the car, you turn on the heat, warm up the engine, then your freezing hands are scraping the ice. Yeah, I don't miss that. So,
and bear in mind, we came up in the era before remote ignition.
That's right. Actually, that was a thing, I feel like, when I left, because it was a gift we bought our mom. That was like the best gift we could think of, where she could start her car remotely from inside.
What a concept. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, welcome back. We're glad to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. And actually, I feel like the last time I was so busy I didn't have anything to say that I had.
You've made up for lost time since then.
Yeah, I definitely did. And so starting with unique to being out in New York, I went to my first Broadway show, which was...
That's so cool.
It was very cool, yeah. And just, people may know this, but I found it interesting. I was like, what is a Broadway show? I mean, does it have to do with the location? What constitutes Broadway? And what I learned is a theater that seats 0 to 99 seats is off Broadway, which I actually thought was a joke when people are like, oh, it's off Broadway. I thought that
Me
was
too.
like a joke.
Yeah.
But that actually means less than 100 seats.
Huh.
100 to 499 is off Broadway, and 500 and more is Broadway. So if it's in New York City, it's 500 seats more. That's a Broadway show.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. So, but I saw To Kill a Mockingbird, which was really exciting because for many reasons. I mean, this is Aaron Sorkin's adaptation of it. And as some listeners may remember, over the past year, I just randomly got all immersed in the world of Harper Lee. I'd read In Cold Blood, where she's kind of a minor character in that true story because she's friends with Truman Capote. So then I was inspired to read To Kill a Mockingbird because the character Dill, the young boy Dill, is based on Truman Capote.
Right.
From her knowing him as a boy. And then after that, I read a book, thanks to a recommendation from my friend Sharon, called Furious Hours, which was about Harper Lee struggling to follow up To Kill a Mockingbird. And so she found a true crime story, and she was going to write her own In Cold Blood, but became overwhelmed with it and never finished it. And so half the book is about her struggling to finish that. And then the author of this book actually telling that tale. So, and then when I was in New York, like a couple times ago, I was even like, I want to go to her apartment. Like, cause they talk about where she lived in New York. So I got my picture in front of Harper Lee's apartment. Like, it's been like so funny how immersed I've been. And so
that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then seeing that To Kill a Mockingbird was playing on Broadway, I was like, well, I got to.
Yeah.
So, Jeff Daniels was playing Atticus Finch.
Well, wait, before all this, at some point in all of this, did you revisit the film with Gregory Peck?
Oh, yes, I should say, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm trying to remember if it was my first time. It may have actually been the first time I'd ever seen it, because I'd read the book a couple times.
Okay.
But yeah, which is fantastic. And obviously, shoot, I'm blanking because I'm looking at so many words on my screen.
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck. Yeah.
He's like the iconic Atticus Finch.
He casts a long shadow. I mean, right. It's really hard not to walk in. I mean, they even dress Jeff Daniels in, similar sorts of suits. And I mean, it's hard. You can't take him out of your head. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because actually when I walked into the theater, I turned to Federica and I was like, Jeff Daniels, I mean, this is the guy who was on the toilet in Dumb and Dumber, And she was like, he was also in Speed. And yeah. I was like, oh, right. Yeah. No. I mean, yes. Newsroom and, sure. But I got to say, I mean, I thought we had really great seats. It was very enjoyable. And I would say we both walked out not feeling that it was exactly scrumtrulescence, but it was perfectly cromulent, to use two made-up words.
I fully understand what you're saying.
But it was interesting because Sorkin does try to take it a little bit apart and put it back together with a new lens. And maybe I hold the book in a high regard, so it's hard to see it reimagined in some ways where I'm like, well, that's not how it goes. But it was definitely, I thought, worth checking out. And I enjoyed just the overall experience of it. And it was really funny. On the way out of the theater, Federica, we were walking out, there's this huge crowd, and she bumped into this guy, and it was Tim Allen. So
wow.
I was like, and normally I try to be sort of coy, like, oh, hey, look over there. But he was going so fast, I just kind of slapped her with my playbill, and I was just like, it's Buzz Lightyear. So yeah, it was an awesome night overall. I mean, it could only happen in that building, in that area, and that was really special. So
he is Buzz Lightyear no longer, Brian. There's a new Lightyear in town.
That's true.
Yeah. Which, did you see the trailer for that new movie, by the way? This is the Pixar story of the quote unquote real Buzz Lightyear who inspired the toy Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
I think I have that right.
I think I remember feeling like, all right, like, I don't know, I'm just kind of game. Like, and if it doesn't work, then I'll call them out on it. But I'm like,
It's really interesting because my reaction is definitely the same as yours, where I'm like, sure, I guess. But I was seeing reactions from people who are, younger than us, right?
mhm.
Who grew up with those movies on a much deeper level than we did.
Right.
Who were like, I can't believe this. I
Oh,
didn't know I was waiting all my life for this.
oh,
And
I kind of love.
I'm fascinated by that because
Yeah,
I'm like, man, that I don't have the same connection with Toy Story. I love those movies.
same.
But I'm also in that space where I'm like, so wait, this is like in Toy Story, like Andy's buying the toy, and in that world, like there's a guy named Buzz Lightyear who went into space and met like space aliens. Like
I wonder if it's sort of, stick with me here. In Toy Story 4, you have the Keanu Reeves character who's based on a real toy that's essentially based on Evil Knievel.
yes,
I wonder if it's likewise. This is some guy that they then, made like the Evil Knievel-esque toy, like a spaceman toy based on a real space. I don't know.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I just remember not even that long ago, 10, 15 years ago. I mean, even if you were to talk about multiverses, which like, right? Like it would be like common to read, oh, wouldn't it be cool if a movie could do this? But I don't think audiences could ever follow it. And like now we're at this point where people are like, nah, they'll get it. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. But
Anyway, sorry. Go on.
no. Well, and then I'll say really briefly, James Bond-a-thon continues.
All
And
right.
finally watched On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which
This is the one. I've been waiting for you to watch this one.
yes, and yes, exactly. Well, yeah, that was what I was going to say. You texted me at one point, and you're like, you've left off right before the one you need to watch. And I got to say, we both really enjoyed it. I thought George Lazenby was interesting. He took me a minute. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, right? Because he's different than Connery, and but I felt like he was finding it, right?
Yes.
And by the end, I was getting, or maybe I was getting used
No,
to him.
no,
sort of
I
by the
think
end.
what you're saying is very true. I think generally you have that moment of like, huh? Right?
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah.
But by the end of the movie, I don't think you have any doubt. Oh, no, he's James Bond.
Yes.
And you're totally on board with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like some fun action where you have like a ski lift and he's on the cable with the gears, and you get the whole the ending, which is basically this remote building on top of a snowy mountain and people on skis with machine guns, and I was like, oh, so this was Christopher Nolan's favorite Bond movie.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of
Right.
Inception, I mean, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, totally.
Yeah. And I
Yep.
think that's fun, actually. But immediately I was like, holy crap, this is Inception.
Yep.
And I absolutely now see, I'll keep it vague, but I can see the ties now to No Time to Die that you were referencing. I mean, certainly with story elements, but also even with score.
Yep.
And I recognized it right away. And that movie takes a turn, and it was effective. Let's put it that way. We were both like, what?
Yeah, I think Diana Rigg, who plays his love interest in that movie,
Mhm.
is so just one of the best Bond women they've ever had, in my opinion.
Yep.
You totally buy her as more than just a tryst.
Yes, an equal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a couple thoughts about that movie. Number one, what a goddamn idiot George Lazenby was.
Oh,
because
yeah.
He before they even finished filming, he was like, well, I'm only doing one, peace out.
Yeah, I mean, he sort of thought it was beneath him.
Yeah, I mean, what? And this guy, he was like 27.
Yeah.
They say youth is wasted on the young, is proof positive, right?
Right.
But the other thought I have is, for a while, this one was sort of written off as like, oh, it's that one.
That's
and
so
it
interesting.
Yeah, right. And it took a while I think generally now, I think it's thought of as one of the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
But it took a while to get there. But imagine, given what happens in that movie, imagine if it starred Connery.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Like there's certain emotional beats that would pack so much more of a punch because it's a James Bond who we've known.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But now I'm assuming you're going to keep going.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it. I was telling you off air that I'd just been so digging the world that I was very curious about the books. And my friend Jason, he just went through all of them, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna love these. Like, you pick it up." And you've told me the same. So on the plane ride back, in the whole ride, basically, I read Casino Royale because it's only 178 pages, and it was a really interesting experience. I mean, being in Bond's head is a whole other thing, and just seeing. I mean, it really does resemble the movie, but it is its own thing, and of course, it's different in other ways. And I don't know. I think I'll probably continue with the books. It was a really fun, zippy read.
The books, I would say that Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig are probably the truest evocation of the novel Bond.
Multiple times I got my own Bond in my head based on the description, but
Right.
I kept going back to Daniel Craig. It just is Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like the book Bond and the movie Bond. Just at some point there was a fork in the road, and the movies just went in their own direction.
Mm.
And that's not denigrating them or the books, but they just became two different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and especially where you're at in the films, because you got Diamonds Are Forever next. I mean, the sort of the high camp really kicks into gear with that one, and then straight through the Roger Moore era.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I don't say that, just to be clear, I'm not saying that in a pejorative, because I quite enjoy the Roger Moore movies. They're just very different from the Sean Connery movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, well, I look forward to continuing, and then also I'm thinking they're going to be fun books too moving forward.
I expect you'll enjoy them. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I was only going to speak on this briefly, but I watched Red Notice. This came out a couple weeks ago on Netflix, and it's, I mean, like The Rock, Gal Gadot.
It's the
Ryan
most
Reynolds.
viewed movie in Netflix history, apparently.
Yeah. And did you watch it?
I have not seen it. No.
It is.
Am I missing anything?
It is. I mean, it's so hard to explain because, like, when as you're watching it, it's like fun, but when it's over, it is entirely absent from your mind, and it's funny because actually the first 45 minutes or so, we were thinking like, this isn't bad, and especially in the way that the story the characters utilized their locations, and they utilized the things that were available to them, and we actually found it quite clever. And then
now, Brian, this is directed by The Rock's guy, right? The guy who does a bunch of his movies.
Yeah, he did the Skyscraper and
like Thurber or something, right?
I don't have it in front of me, but yeah,
something like that.
So yeah, I mean, it's not visually, like there's a whole multiple Jeeps driving through a tunnel that never ends, and they're clearly just sitting on 3 green blocks, just sort of whatever. Yeah, it's just whatever. But like, it truly is just, affable vapor. But like, okay. the whole thing I wanted to bring up was I hit an epiphany while I was watching this. So Ryan Reynolds, who I really like, but I've noticed his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the 21st century's "take my wife, please." Am I wrong? Like, he kind of has, and it's funny because it's more about the pattern of what he's saying that becomes funny. Like, it's almost a cue to laugh, even with like Deadpool, even though he does say funny things, but he just does so much of it that you start to go numb to it and becomes just like, like pattern. And it's like, he has these sort of things that he always sort of does where he'll see some bad guy who's looking at him and he'll be like, "Okay, Brazilian Channing Tatum," because he like slightly resembles Channing Tatum. Or another one, I was like, he'll talk to The Rock and he'd be like, "And then you went all secret M. Night Shyamalan sequel on me and Split," and you're like, wow, that is a walk, but you are referencing something I'm familiar with and whatever. It's like, I don't know. He's the 21st century "take my wife, please."
There you go. I think just put that on on the pull quote on his memoir.
Yeah, Red Notice. Oh, the Free Guy. Love Free Guy. That was really fun.
The Free Guy was a lot of fun. I agree with that.
What else? Oh, Beatles documentary, Get Back, on Disney Plus. Have you watched this?
I have not, although I hear I'm in for about, what is it, like 37 hours of them arguing with each other and whatever.
You know what? Frankly, I'm in the camp of I wish. Couldn't get enough of this. I have an hour left.
It feels like the world is divided into two people who are like, when will this end?
Yep.
And please don't end. So,
you know, I think honestly an argument could be made for both. I think like a 2.5 hour version of this could possibly reach more people and have its impact and its effect. But on the other hand, I think when it is an entirely different animal when you have the 8 hours, because it is just one of the most riveting accounts of creativity I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, these people who are just completely put on pedestals and revered, and in my opinion, rightly so. And then because you show so many different moments, and even like down moments where they're literally just screwing around and making each other laugh and whatever. But then when they get down to work, and, you know, much is being made of this scene, but when Paul McCartney, like John Lennon is late one morning. So Paul McCartney's sitting there and he's feeling pressure to come up with a new song. So he just starts playing his bass, and out of thin air, he creates Get Back. And you get to watch him pluck it out of nowhere and create it. And I saw that moment. I got chills when I saw it the first time, and then I watched it again on YouTube and got chills again. I mean, it's just, I think in a way it's almost encouraging for people who do creative things, because it's like, these things aren't delivered on platters to people. Like, they have to sit and be stuck for a while, and then they have to have their backs against the wall, and even the Beatles, and then they happen to write Let It Be, you know, like,
right.
But and then speaking of Let It Be, I mean, you have Paul working out those chords on piano, but you have other people like, hey, Paul, can you be quiet for a minute? And he's like, okay. You know, it's like, it really humanizes something that I think has just been so mythologized. I don't know. I just found it. And even there was like a whole moment too with Yoko, you know, who is definitely an interesting character. And I think for the past decades, I mean, it's like a trope to, you know, Yoko broke up the Beatles, right?
That's right.
And there's like she's definitely like, she's sitting on top of them while they're working, you know, right? Like connected at the hip with John. But on the other hand, there's this moment where Paul is saying like, he actually likes her. And he's like, you know, it'd be like a great irony if in 50 years people thought we broke up because Yoko sat on an amp. Wow. And you're like, wow. You know, like, it's just, yeah, it's like, for whatever sort of amount of weeks that they work together, you just get this unprecedented, truly fly on the wall glimpse at their process, the ups, the downs, the interpersonal stuff. George Harrison feeling like he needs to spread his wings, but people won't let him. I mean, it's just, at this point, I'm sure people already have either seen it or have their opinions on it, but I just absolutely was gobbling it up. I was saying for this year, this was my 90s Bulls documentary, where it was just an absolute, I wasn't expecting it to be this riveting. So yeah,
well, there we go.
Highly recommended. Theatrically, I got to see Kenneth Branagh's Belfast.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
I have the screener sitting downstairs. I'm waiting for me to watch.
So. Okay. Well, maybe I won't say much then. Maybe we can talk.
Yeah, maybe by the next time we do a new episode, I expect I'll.
Okay, actually, that's what we'll do. And then lastly, I'll get to, I saw House of Gucci. Have you seen this one?
I have not, but I've certainly seen the commentary about this one, which I've found quite amusing.
This movie, man, it is like just a couple steps away from being really like the camp Scorsese, whatever thing it's like aiming to be.
I mean, Jared Leto is playing like a jar of spaghetti sauce, basically.
Dude, I actually, when I walked out of the theater, I asked Federica's mom, I was like, so is what Jared Leto did a crime against Italy? Because, like, I mean, this is not an exaggeration. He'll be like, I designed the tie. What do you think?
It's me, Mario.
It's like, why do you pick on me? me, Father. You know, and you're like, I was like, what is everybody thinking in this room watching him? You know, are they like waiting for Ridley Scott to be like, you know, let's pull back a little bit?
But see, this is my question.
Yeah.
Did he not read the room, or did he know the assignment?
You know what? It's so funny you say that, because I was like, I couldn't take my eyes off of him. Like, maybe there's something to it. Like, is it good? No, it isn't.
The performance or the movie?
The performance.
Okay.
But you can't take your eyes off of it. I truly, I'm not a big fan of Jared Leto, and like that, I got to give it to him. He did something. And like, that's really interesting the way you say it too, knowing the assignment, because Lady Gaga definitely knew the assignment. She's a rock star in this. This is totally her movie. And man, I wanted to like it more. I would say I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. But it reminded me a little bit of Wolf of Wall Street, not in terms of content, but in terms of what it was almost striving to be, which is this sprawling, crazy people doing crazy things, fumbling toward, I don't know, not success, but striving, right? Toward ambition, you know, and all this stuff. And then finally they achieve it, but then it almost, you know, crumbles them. But unlike Wolf of Wall Street, which I do like, and when it's on TV, I find myself sucked into it because it just effortlessly propels, you know, and one thing leads to the next. And in this one, it feels like a string of interesting ideas that don't always connect to one another. Like, there's a really interesting moment where Lady Gaga's character, and this, I should say, for people who don't know, I mean, this is based on a true story. She marries into the Gucci family, right? It marries Adam Driver's character. And she is very proud to be a Gucci, right? And then she sees on the streets of New York that there's these bootleg purses being made. And so this is for her. She's like, no, this is sullying our name. And, you know, the family's like, no, our name. You know, and I was like, yeah, and now what? Like, let's get into this, you know, like what is she going to do about that? And how does she feel? Does she go and overturn a stand, or does she, what? But it just kind of like abandons that thought. And then it goes to like another thought, and then it goes to another thought. And so interesting performances. Jeremy Irons is really good, or Jeremy Iron, as I've heard it both ways. Adam Driver's really, I really like him in this. I think he's a really, I like being around Adam Driver, if that makes any sense. Like, I think he makes a character who, the more I read about him, may not have been a really great guy. He makes him kind of likable in this movie. But at the same time, there are certain turns and feelings that he has toward his wife, you know, Lady Gaga's character, that feel like maybe they cut a couple scenes and you're like, oh, how did we get here? You know? So it feels so close. And so I think if people are interested, I think it's worth checking out for the performances, but you also wonder what could have been. So,
well, there we go.
Yeah. Woo. That's what I've been up to.
All right. Well, hey, Brian, I've seen a few things.
Let's hear it.
So I saw the Rocky IV director's cut.
Oh, so did I. I am dying to know what you thought.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that you saw it. So this is Rocky for Rocky versus Drago.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that title.
Nah, it's unwieldy.
All right. I think we get it. We know who he fights.
It has like 40 new minutes of footage. However, the movie itself is only 2 minutes longer than the previous version of the movie.
That was shocking when I discovered that.
Yes. And so this is, I got to see this in the theater, which was, I have to admit, that was pretty cool. They had a one night only screening. So I went to that. I took my kids with me, and I gotta say, I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit.
I did too. I still think the original would be my preferred.
I think the nostalgia for the original cut is so strong for me.
100%. I mean, I have to admit that. I think this might be a better movie, but I think it makes it a little more serious.
Yes,
which maybe is okay, but I enjoy the fun of the previous.
I think what I noted in my review, I wrote a review for IGN, is it fits more with the rest of the movies now.
Yeah.
Tonally, Stallone brought back, he wove in the Bill Conti music more, which Bill Conti didn't do the score at all for the original one.
Right.
He changed the opening montage from just the closing minutes of the fight from Rocky 3 to something a little bit more expansive, sort of showing Apollo Creed's, how the friendship that he formed with Rocky.
Right.
Which I like, but I also like that opening montage from Rocky 4, like the Eye of the Tiger montage, right? So that's a hard switch, but I think the choices he made, most of them I was like 100% on board with in terms of what he chose to leave out.
Yeah.
The robot's like the obvious. Yeah, we don't miss that even a little bit.
Can I tell you real quick? When it was over, we fast forwarded. Federica had not seen Rocky 4 before, right? And we did a thing with me, her, my brother, and his girlfriend. And so we were fast forward. We wanted to see the changes in the fight. So we were kind of fast forwarding through the movie where we could see the image.
Okay.
And we're like, oh, that's different. Oh, that's different. Oh, that's different. And I stopped on the robot, and Federica, in all seriousness, was like, this is the same movie that I just watched? Like, it's so tonally different. Yeah.
Yeah. Paulie has a robot girlfriend. Anyway,
yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's funny is you cut out the robot, suddenly Paulie has no arc in this movie.
Yeah.
He's barely in it.
Yeah.
But Stallone recut the fight. I think in many ways he improved it, I think. It's I don't know. It's I really there were a couple things I really like. I like how the film opens with, there's a new scene where Apollo is talking to Rocky outside of his mansion. And it's a new scene, and it's just a little, like, it's one of those things where you're like, man, I can't believe he didn't use this, because it's just a nice scene of these two people together, And then there's a little bit of business in the fight between Apollo and Drago, where Apollo kind of, like, he brings it a little more. So he doesn't go down like as much of a punk.
Right, sure.
It's a subtle thing, and it definitely feels like Stallone is retrospectively inspired by the Creed films.
Interesting.
To give Apollo a little bit more business, But overall, like, I liked it. I really did. And I think in many measurable ways, I think it's an improvement. But going back to what you said earlier, I think just the power of nostalgia is a hell of a thing. The version I'm most likely going to end up watching is the theatrical cut. Yeah.
Same. Although I completely agree with you. I mean, I thought it was a successful exercise for sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is of the sort of belated director's cut that have come out, like Superman 2 and Godfather Part 3, where they went back decades after the fact. There's inevitably these flaws that have emerged, and on that scale, I think this is probably the most successful example of this particular exercise.
Yeah. Speaking of less Paulie, there was also less Brigitte Nielsen, right?
Yeah, that too.
A significant amount.
That was interesting too, and my wife was like, "Is that because, like, he, because they were married and he doesn't want to have anything to do with her. He wants to cut her out of the movie." I'm like, yeah, but she's in Creed too.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, more of the mouth is given to the other manager or whoever that is.
Right, Michael Pataki. Well, and actually, they give, like, Drago a little bit more to do too.
Yeah.
I mean, not a ton,
Yeah, and Gorbachev doesn't applaud Rocky at the end.
Yeah, right. Which is good,
Yeah, it was different. It's interesting. Just little subtle tweaks. Yeah, to make
that. What's funny is Gorbachev. I actually missed that. It was my son Hamza was like, "Hey, wait, Gorbachev's not applauding."
I know, me too. I was like, I know it's corny, and maybe that's the thing, right? It fits with the tone of the version of the original I have nostalgia for, but
Well, there we go. So it's
interesting to know. I was going to say real quick, they shot it both ways. That's kind of a fascinating glimpse.
Yeah, right.
It's like, let's have a version where he claps. Let's have a version where he walks away in disgust. It's interesting insight.
They do change Rocky's little monologue at the end, his speech.
Yes.
And I did. He's like, my best friend said you can't change, and he died. It's pretty funny. Like it's like unintentionally funny.
Right.
I didn't like. See again, and this is just plugged into nostalgia. The movie ends with Eye of the Tiger coming in, whereas the theatrical cut ended with Hearts on Fire playing.
Right.
And I just didn't. I was like, no, that's wrong. It's not supposed to be like that, you know?
Yeah.
And you say like, well, objectively, would it matter if this is the first version? Probably not, right?
Sure.
But that's just the thing you're used to.
Yep.
So that is Rocky for the director's cut. Speaking of nostalgia, I also saw a movie that's getting a great deal of praise. I think it's won the National Board of Review for like best movie of the year. And this is Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza.
I'm nervous, Zachy. I'm anticipating this movie quite a bit, and I think I saw a tweet you did earlier.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling you and I may end up disagreeing on this one because if I'm being honest, it did not do a ton for me.
Okay.
And there were things in it. I think it was totally fine. Like I was not bored for the most part, but I also didn't feel particularly invested in the journeys of these characters. The main character is he's a 15-year-old kid, you know, and he's in love with this 24-year-old woman, and that's the central sort of that's the journey that we're on here. And the main character, by the way, played by Cooper Hoffman, who's the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
You definitely see some of his dad there. And I think he's fine. The leading lady is Alana Haim, who plays a character named Alana, and so it's set in the 70s. It's set in 1973, and it's set in and around the valley.
What?
Yeah. So it has very much. It has kind of a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood flavor of sort of wistful looking back at like a specific era. Because it's right around they're set in like the same time,
right?
But I don't know, man. Yeah, you know, I'm not a Paul Thomas Anderson aficionado. I should say that out front. Like I'm at best neutral when it comes to him. Like that doesn't mean I can't like his movies. I liked The Master quite a bit, but I think Magnolia is just really indulgent. It just does nothing for me.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense because I'm not like a fanatic for him, but I'm also realizing something, and this even comes into when we talk about Ghostbusters later. But I am a sucker for good direction and like good photography, and
there's a lot of that in this.
Yeah, just the trailer. I was like, give me more. just the look of it. And I wonder if that plays a lot also into my enjoyment, you know? I'm very curious. I'm very curious how it's going to play.
The problem I had is the movie ends.
Yeah.
And we've been on this journey with these characters. And just on a basic level, I was like, I felt nothing for whatever these characters were going through. I didn't plug in, right? And that's maybe a failing on my part, but that's definitely the impression I had, you know. And I should say that, I mean, gosh, you know, I was voting in the Hollywood Critics Awards this week, right?
Already.
Yeah, already. So I'm like racing to get as many screenings as mine done, and we were told like, we're not sending out screeners for Licorice Pizza because Paul Thomas Anderson wants the press to see it on the big screen. Okay, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not doing that. You know? and then you know, I get an email from the publicist, and they're in LA. They're like, we want to set up a screening for you. You know, where you're at so you can see it. I'm like just me? Yeah, just for you. Literally just for me.
Really?
Yeah. So
Zachy?
I know, right? So they contacted the publicist here, and they worked around my schedule. They found a theater that's near me so that they could screen it. I mean, it was like intense.
Wow.
Right? and so as a result, I felt like kind of this added pressure,
Yep.
like, you know, and then the movie ends and I'm like, nah,
And don't they tend to talk to you on the way out?
So I got the question like, oh, what did you think? And I said I had to sleep on it.
Yeah.
And I did sleep on it. I was just like, I just thought it was okay. Like I'm if I'm honest, the praise that feels very overblown to me, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
Now that said, there's stuff in it I really did like. I think Bradley Cooper is in it as John Peters.
Right.
And what's interesting is the whole movie has these sort of pastiche characters.
Okay.
So you've got like Sean Penn playing like an old school Hollywood star, and you could say maybe he's like a Steve McQueen type or something, but it's not actually. You've got another actress playing like a Lucille Ball type. It's all, they're like types. And then you've got Bradley Cooper as John Peters.
Right.
And I find that so funny because that's one of those things that like, obviously that's a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also something that, let's face it, like how many people, except for people like us who are really in this stuff, are going to know who John Peters is?
Sure, yeah.
So he'll just feel like a character.
Right.
And it definitely feels like Bradley Cooper could walk away with the Best Supporting Actor nomination out of this. I think he's really good in it. He's really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish the movie worked more for me. I appreciated the craft.
Yeah.
But the heart, I didn't plug into it.
It's funny. You said it could be your failing earlier, and in my head, I was like, no, that was your experience. And I, it's no secret on this podcast, I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I think it's a really great movie. And I know a lot of people like it, and I know a lot of people don't like it. But it was weirdly personal for me, and so I can totally understand for people that cannot find their way into that movie. I totally get it. Then it must have seemed really listless,
Right.
And so I wonder, likewise, going even further back, Lost in Translation, which is a movie I loved. And it reminded me, I never, spent a couple days with a older actor in Japan, but like it conjured feelings of experiences that I had that were different, but the same essence. Yeah. But I've heard people just be like, I just couldn't connect with it. And I'm like, I understand that,
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's some of that going on, like you have to find something to latch onto. And if not, it's just, you're sort of being pulled along through a thing and then it's over.
You will definitely appreciate all the places around you where this is shot. I appreciated it on your behalf almost, Yeah. It's funny, actually. There's the most recent episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm has this whole the most recent season. I don't know if you've been watching it, but there's a subplot where Larry David has this secret shortcut through the valley.
Oh, I've got to see this.
Yeah. I was like, man, I don't even live there, but I can relate to that.
That is hilarious.
He doesn't want anybody to know about his secret shortcut.
Does he get into it? I mean, is it kind of specific, or
he does? He gives a specific, like a turn by turn thing. So it's very funny.
I'm gonna, as soon as we're done with this, I'm gonna look that up. That is so funny.
So yeah, I'm curious. Well, just to be clear, it was not like I hated this movie. I had a very visceral negative reaction to Magnolia, which I did not have with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm the sort of best movie of the year stuff is kind of blowing right past me because I'm not feeling that for whatever reason.
Sure, man. Oh, I can't wait. That was. I'm going to be in New York again soon, and the only thing I asked to do was to go see Licorice Pizza while I'm out there.
Look at that.
I think it's right now it's extremely limited. There's a place I tracked down out there. I was like, okay,
yeah,
we'll go do this.
Well, that's what I've seen. So let's take a short break, and then we can talk through some listener letters. And we are back, and hey, here's a letter, Brian. This is from Tim Sika.
Oh.
Tim was actually at the screening of Licorice Pizza. That was, set up for me.
Thanks for coming to my screening.
Yeah, Tim was there, and also Peter Canavisi, who are both local critics here. And that's one thing I was saying, because going to these press screenings over the pandemic has been challenging, and one thing you don't get to do as much of is just sort of chat with your fellow critics. So that was just a nice thing to be able to do. But Tim sent an email several days before the screening, and he said, "I've been meaning to write you guys for ages now, but the last several months of the Movie Film podcast have been particularly fun and engaging."
Oh, thanks, Tim.
And I'm just going to say, Tim, what are you implying about the episodes before the last several months? I find that offensive.
That's funny.
Just last night, as I was washing dishes, I suddenly realized I was singing your theme song unbeknownst to my conscious mind. My roommate says, "What is that? Who are Zachy and Brian?" Me. "What?" Roommate. "That song." Me. "Oh, hell." Which is that was actually the response we were hoping for when we started this journey 9 years ago. So
that's what we requested from Sean Coyle, who proposed that song.
We want people to say "Oh, hell."
Yeah.
And by gum, we've achieved that goal. So
it's a pretty great song, if I do say so myself.
It is. I think Michael Lyons wrote to us and said it is an earworm.
Absolutely. I mean, we had nothing to do with it, so I can say that. But
that was Sean's genius right there.
Yeah.
This is a letter we got from Jeremy Lloyd via Facebook. And he says, "Hey, Zach and Brian, just wanted to chime in on your Eternals discussion, which I have to say I'm on the same page as both of you with this film. I wanted to mention a theory I had walking out on potential future plans for the MCU. Do you think it's possible the end of this movie could be setting up a future threat from another big bad that Marvel recently got back in the toy box, Galactus? This movie sets up the huge presence of Celestials, and although Galactus isn't a Celestial, it's a change they could make and have him be the one to come to Earth to destroy it after the events of the Eternals. Just a theory. Wanted to hear your thoughts. Brian, go ahead and ask all your questions."
I was just about to say, Zachy, I defer to you. I am familiar with Galactus just from the movies. That's about it.
But the big cloud in the second Fantastic Four movie.
Yes. So in short, I have no idea. So I'm curious if you, based on the way that Marvel has tended to tweak some things to their cinematic universe needs, do you think that's something that could happen?
So my response would be maybe. No, I have more. No, I think it feels like a virtual certainty that we will get Galactus at some point in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is one of the most iconic Marvel characters, and we did not get him in that Fantastic Four movie. We got a thing that with that name, so they have an opportunity to really do the concept justice.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Celestials are probably as good a way as any to weave him in.
Yeah.
But the Silver Surfer and all that stuff. I mean, obviously they're going to want to bring that into the MCU as soon as possible.
Sure.
As always with these, I'm intrigued to see how they do it.
Yeah.
Have you watched a Hawkeye at all?
It just sparked in my brain this. I was going to ask you. Yes, I am 2 episodes deep. What is there, 3 now as of today?
There's 3 now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm liking it.
I am thoroughly enjoying this one.
I love the tone. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. Well, and it feels nice to give Renner a little bit of a showcase.
Yeah, sure.
After 10 years of being in the MCU, he seems to be having fun. And kind of, I mean, it seems like they're setting up certain things. I know that the internet speculation is that we're going to see Vincent D'Onofrio in this as the Kingpin.
Wow. Really?
Which is a character he played in the Daredevil show on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I don't know if that'll be the case, but I like it. I don't know. The reaction has been a little bit more muted, is my sense online.
Versus Loki
or WandaVision, people were kind of, but maybe that's just that's what happens when you've got, several Marvel shows in the span of a year.
Out of the gate.
Yeah. What is this now? If we include What If, this is, what is it? Number 5? Yeah. Number 5. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. But I loved it. I thought it was really fun. I was ready for the next one when it ended. So
with these shows, that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what's happening there. Let's talk some headlines.
Yeah.
So, hey, here's a thing, Brian.
Yes.
We have a new Lethal Weapon movie to look forward to. Maybe.
I was going to say, do we?
So this is a Variety and the various trades broke the news a couple weeks ago that they are indeed making a Lethal Weapon 5 and that Mel Gibson is going to be directing it. So this was a project that Richard Donner was planning before his death. He had intended this to be his final film.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And he passed away at the age of 91.
91,
Let
yeah.
it be known. So, I mean, at 91, he was like, all right, call the trucks.
One more.
Let's do it.
So he supposedly he told Mel Gibson, if anything happens to me, you're gonna make this movie.
Oh, was that? I had not heard that.
Yeah. He passed the baton to Mel Gibson. So Mel Gibson took it as sort of a personal, as a tribute to his friend, to complete what he began. So that's sort of now you say, is it, the question mark. Now this has been announced not for theatrical but for HBO Max.
Yes.
Which leads me to say that it's more likely that it will happen.
100%.
Right?
Yep. Because even like the people who are on the fence and curious, they may not be inclined to get off their butts and walk into a building to do this, right? But if it happens to be in their living room, they may start it out of curiosity.
Right. I think the window to make a theatrical fifth Lethal Weapon is probably closed. Mm-hmm. I would argue that the window to make a fifth Lethal Weapon has closed, period.
Sure.
That's me. But HBO Max feels like the more likely place where this ends up. So I think we talked about this recently. After Donner passed away, I went and watched all the Lethal Weapons again. And I'm just like, God, what a perfect ending. Why go even one frame past it?
Agreed.
Yep. And I still feel that way because I feel like the only way you get a fifth movie is by inflicting some measure of tragedy on these characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want that.
Well, you think where one began, right?
Right.
This suicidal cop who's on his own. And then by the fourth one, it's like him and his new family, And
right.
I mean, what else? Yeah. What else is there to say?
Yeah. So I'm And then, there's another conversation that I think is worth having as it pertains to Mel Gibson.
Yes.
Because obviously he is a controversial figure, right? Mm-hmm. And, it's been interesting to see people talk about, everything he has said or whatever. And, how can he keep making movies and whatever. And I think all of that stuff is valid. But there is a question that arises. And I don't have an answer to it. I mean, it's just a genuine question. I'm like, do we have the capacity to let people get past their worst moment? Mm-hmm. Like as a society?
In response to that, I will admit ignorance to his responses.
Sure.
I think that is a key part of it. And I think with his story, it's super complicated and would never make excuses for what he did. Like they still kind of trouble me, honestly. And
absolutely.
And I think what I have admired, at least, are the people in his life who are sticking, not defending what he's done, but being like Robert Downey Jr. was on stage, right, to present him at the Oscars. And he was like, I had a really low moment in my life and this guy stuck by me.
Right.
And now this guy's having a low moment in his life and I'm going to stick by him. And I think that's sweet. Like, I think that is meaningful, but I don't know that I could tell you what Mel Gibson has done post those things. And I think that's kind of important to progress.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that it's tricky, right? Because to the point you're making, right? Like, well, I'm seeing a lot of people who are like, well, he's a racist, and how could Danny Glover want to work with him again or something like that, right? And without getting into that, it seems like Danny Glover is okay with it.
Sure.
Right. So my question then is he wrong to be okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have some sort of nuanced friendship, right? And maybe an understanding. And again, like, I don't really know. I know like sort of the bullet points of this stuff that's happened and they're ugly.
Yes.
But I also it sounds like there's a really troubled person underneath all of that.
Yeah.
So to your point, what you were saying earlier, I really would like to believe we can support people past their worst moments if they are willing to they themselves work past their worst moments. Right. And so maybe that's something that is going on in his life that these people are privy to that we're not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine if those friendships have endured. But yeah, I don't know. Is that?
Yeah, no, truthfully, I didn't even plan on going down this road, but I mean, it's a thought that occurs to me, right?
Yeah.
I can say the things that we know he said were awful, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said anti-Semitic things, he said sexist things, he said racist things. All of those are awful.
Yeah.
But can we who don't know him rightly say he's a bad person?
Right.
And that he should never be given another opportunity?
I would really like to believe in forgiveness and redemption. Like that's just what I want, for people. But I could also understand if some people would have a hard time watching his movies moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I think HBO Max is the perfect place.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, I am circumspect about another Lethal Weapon. I truly do feel like they've done everything they need to with that franchise.
Yeah.
It's okay to let things end.
Mm-hmm.
But as always, as we always say on this show, I'd rather see the good version of the fifth one than a bad one. So.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a TV version to go back to and allow that to continue the journey.
Yeah, isn't that funny that ended under weird circumstances too? That was an enjoyable show.
It was an enjoyable show that I think they had a catastrophe after another. I think what we said on here is that their stages were built on an ancient Indian burial ground, and it's just all downhill.
I remember they shot directly outside the entrance of the building where I worked once.
Wow.
So that was fun, watching that episode and seeing where I worked every day.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it started out strong, and then it turns out that Riggs and Murtaugh hated each other in real life, which makes making a buddy cop thing problematic, one assumes.
Yeah.
Remember we had an interview with Clayne Crawford on this show. Clayne Crawford, who played Riggs.
Mm-hmm.
We had an interview with him on this show.
Yep. Yeah.
Speaking of HBO Max, here's another thing from the HBO factory. The Game of Thrones franchise, which maybe should not be a franchise.
Yeah.
You see this thing?
Yes. Yeah, well, I saw there was a lot of items from Game of Thrones land, right? Where George R.R. Martin, the author of the original novels, basically said that he went to HBO and begged them to make this series longer.
Yes.
Right, for them to accomplish what he had in mind for the totality of the story. So that was kind of interesting.
So apparently Benioff and Weiss, who created the show, were like, nope, we're done.
Understandably. I mean, let's put it this way. I'm sure the taxing of their bodies and their minds, putting that show out every year must have been just absolutely punishing. So they were like, let's try to, there has to be an exit plan, right?
Well, but here's the thing, and now admittedly, I have not seen Game of Thrones, but I mean, by all indications, the final season was just one long wet fart of a thing.
That was one of those things where, I mean, that show went from, if you watch television from just a couple of years ago when I was watching Parks and Rec and, Psych and all these sorts of things, and like every show unabashedly is referencing Game of Thrones, because surely this will be like Star Wars, where for decades we can reference this and everyone will lovingly like, oh, right, the Targaryens, like I understood that reference. And it's just so funny that overnight that show just whimpered and floated away.
Yeah. So, well, this despite the best efforts of HBO to sort of keep the good times rolling, now they have a spinoff. They have a spinoff coming.
Yes,
which is about the House of Targaryen or whatever, right? What's it called? House of the Dragon.
Okay.
That's the thing. That's a prequel, and it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another prequel that they shot the pilot for.
Mm-hmm.
They spent $30 million on this pilot.
Yeah.
And then decided not to go with it.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? $30 million down a toilet.
Right?
But you know, it's sort of, I think about this. I'm going to try to make this make sense, but when I look at, like, Star Wars is Star Wars. Like, that's just, everybody knows Star Wars, even if they don't watch Star Wars. It's just become that thing. But I'm sort of fascinated by the fact that 40 plus years later, I'm still seeing photographs that I've never seen from the making of Star Wars.
Right.
And it made me think, I mean, almost every movie, every TV show has to assume they're going to be Star Wars. So they document the making. They have to assume that people are going to want to learn everything about this and know how it was made and whatnot. And it's just funny because some things become this, and then we're thankful we have all of that. And then other, like this show, I'm sure was heavily documented, the making of, and they had the Blu-ray in mind and extra curricular content on stream, like YouTube and whatnot, and nothing.
It's amazing.
All the hours of work and all the sweat of writing and directing and locations and it's just crazy to imagine. It's crazy to imagine.
So that pilot, it starred Naomi Watts.
Oh, I thought she was in the one that was going to go. So wow, so she's in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was set thousands of years before the events of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So it's sort of the High Republic of Game of Thrones, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Which is speaking of Star Wars, that's the big campaign right now, right?
Yeah.
It's in across media platforms and whatnot.
Yep.
So you can see why the Game of Thrones people are trying to expand the territory that the brand covers.
Sure.
But it definitely feels like because they didn't stick the landing, I don't see a ton of desire, for more.
Yeah. Again, I just can't help but think of these scenarios where famously the Game of Thrones pilot was, I think, totally reshot.
That was also reshot, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that paid off well for them. But what's the inverse of that, right? Where maybe this one cost so much because they reshot half of it or more, but then ultimately it's not going to become what Game of Thrones did. So it's just so much gambling, it's.
Now this is all from a new book about HBO called Tinderbox.
Okay.
And it sure sounds like a book I'm interested in. It's
Yeah,
just kind of the sort of the wheeling and dealing that goes on behind the scenes there. I honestly, I think a better object lesson in how to fritter away an audience's adoration is there's no better example than what happened with Game of Thrones. Because we can certainly say that the Star Wars sequel trilogy did this, that, and the other thing, whatever those films' failings are, but Star Wars at this point has been such a fixture that it's not as fragile a thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, speaking of Star Wars, I mean, we were last time we recorded a new episode, we were talking about the Rogue Squadron film and how that had been delayed. It sure looks like that's just canceled outright.
Yeah. Oh, really? I haven't heard since that story. But,
it's apparently just been taken off the schedule entirely. So
yeah,
there is that.
It's delicate, I would say, at this moment. I mean, like you say, it goes against what you just said, but like Star Wars not being fragile, and I agree with that. But I think there also has to be a lot of thinking and intention about what's next. I mean, if they've apparently wrapped up the Skywalker saga, which is the anchor of those stories for most people, it's like, yeah, you really want to know what you're doing next. So I don't envy the people who are making these decisions. I
think what Star Wars has going for it is that the brand will always have a sort of a level of immediate buy-in. Mm-hmm. From X percentage of people.
Yeah.
And, that number may fluctuate, but you've got this baseline. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that Game of Thrones
has that anymore. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
is anyone
really
excited? Like the House of Dragon might be amazing, but that I feel like any love is going to have to be earned by this show rather than the brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, I mean, those guys were supposed to do a Star Wars thing too. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
Benioff and Weiss. So they're just leaving a whole string of wet farts wherever they go. That's what's happening there. All right, hey, let's take a short break and we'll come back and we will talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife. And we are back. And you know what else is back, Brian?
What's that?
The Ghostbusters franchise.
Oh,
look at that! Just 5 short years after Paul Feig rebooted the thing, we are ignoring the reboot and going back to the old version.
It was making me think of what is time? I mean, half a decade ago.
It's really
half a decade used to seem like a long time.
That movie came out before Donald Trump was elected.
Wow.
It was that summer. It was that magical summer where a whole bunch of stuff happened.
Yeah.
So this movie has performed pretty well. It's done very well over the last few weeks. It has currently earned about $120 million worldwide off of a $75 million budget.
Wow.
So not too shabby there. So certainly there is some life in this ghost.
Yeah.
Eh? I was proud of that.
That's good.
Okay, so I have seen this. I've seen it twice, as it happens.
Oh.
So I have many thoughts on this movie, but I want to hear your thoughts, Brian.
So I've been very busy lately, like incredibly busy. And seeing this movie, we were supposed to record this show a couple days ago.
Yes.
And one day I wasn't able to see this movie. The other day I had too much work. And so seeing this movie was becoming like homework. That was like going to be due, and I had no choice.
I was like, Brian, the listeners, they're waiting for us. And Brian was like, the hell with the listeners.
Right. With a big echo. Yeah.
I was like, Brian, I'm going to scream so loud, the whole country's going to hear me.
I played these freaking listeners like a bat out of hell. Bat out of hell.
So this was homework for you, but you did complete your assignment.
I completed my assignment last night, and it was still tiring.
Okay.
And then I sat down, and I was absolutely charmed by this movie. Like,
wow.
Absolutely charmed by it. Like, Federica and I were both really tired. We've been traveling. We've been very busy. And I think even midway through, we're like, this movie's adorable. Like, this is so much fun. And I don't think it's a perfect movie. I can't wait to get into spoilers because I think there's going to be a lot of things that divide people or they'll have opinions about. Are you chuckling?
Oh, I'm sort of fascinated by your reaction because generally, folks, we say this all the time, and it's not a bit. We don't talk about the movie before we talk about it.
I actually don't. I didn't read your review. I don't know what you thought of this.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, yeah, we got things, nits we can pick and whatnot, but. Oh, by and large, I had and maybe it had to do with like my stressful week. And I just sat back and I watched what felt like a lost 80s movie of these kids. Dude, it is exactly what we talk about. Like a fantasy in your own backyard. And it scratched so many itches that I absolutely love. Kids on a mission, being scrappy, using kid ingenuity. In a realistic setting, fighting something otherworldly that's fun and exciting. I thought the kids were great. The girl Phoebe, McKenna Grace.
Oh, she's a star.
Fantastic. My gosh. And this kid, Logan Kim. It's this kid called woefully called Podcast. He is so charming. Yeah. I loved him. I loved them. I thought they really could have led the whole movie, frankly. I mean, there's other characters too. Finn Wolfhard and he's fun, but he's not given a lot to do.
Yeah.
And Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon are great, but they're kind of side characters. I just had so much fun with the kids. I do think the first half of the movie is better than the second half. But my gosh, like Jason Reitman good Lord. Like, he made a Spielberg movie. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right down to the direction. I mean, the direction is fantastic. The photography is, I've seen a couple Red Notice these movies lately where I'm like, okay, if this is the world I live in now, I'll just have to suck it up.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, he actually thought about this shot. Like, he's trying to move my eye around. He's, it looked like a movie to me. To be fair, like it looked cinematic, and that absolutely, I'm certain, had a lot to do with my excitement with the movie, because it made me lean forward and be like, I'm watching someone who really thought about this and is trying to delight me. And
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of fun to be had. Again, there's things I'd rather get into in spoilers where I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. But when all was said and done, I walked out. I had a fun time. So.
Well, geez, when I went to the press screening of this,
Mhm.
and after, as we said earlier, there's usually a rep outside who asks your question, and so I leave the theater, and Danielle, who's the rep for Sony Pictures, she said, "Oh, what'd you think?" And I told her that this movie was just it was like getting a hug for 2 hours.
Oh, I'm so relieved. I was so worried you're going to be like, let me sleep on it.
Yeah, no, I was just like, it just felt like getting a warm hug.
Yep.
And I truly felt that way. It took me back into a world that I love.
Yeah.
And it reunited me with friends I never thought I'd see again.
Yeah, sure.
And we live in an age of legacy sequels at this point, right?
Are they going to do the Jerry Maguire? We live in a cynical world.
we do.
We do. Yeah.
I mean, what's ironic is that the original Ghostbusters is cynical.
Sure.
And this movie is earnest,
Mm-hmm.
which is very funny, right? Because it is very much a legacy sequel to our memories of those earlier films.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I was curious what you would think of it, because you have mentioned earlier that you don't have the same level of nostalgia that I do, because you kind of came to it a little later.
If I can comment on that really quickly, because I thought of this while I was watching the movie. I remember during our commentary, you said, I don't remember who, but maybe it was just all the Ghostbusters. It was the same for you as seeing Marty McFly.
Right.
And like, that's not true for me. Like,
Right.
Marty McFly is, the one that I hold dear. And these are characters I have grown to like over the years.
Yeah.
But they weren't woven in like they are for you. And
Right.
But as I was watching this movie, it made me nostalgic in the best way for that other film. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't have it the same way you do, but it made me love that movie, maybe additionally. And what I loved, the choice was using the old score.
Yes. Oh yeah. My gosh.
So effective. It tickled me in a way I didn't think that score ever would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it did for me.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon. I think for me, Rudd's character is the sort of the connecting tissue to the original film in terms of the tone.
Sure.
Because he's sort of playing a Peter Venkman-esque character.
Huh. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah.
Right? He's like the goof-off teacher. He's actually smart, but he's... Right?
I did not make that connection.
Right? Like, wait, he's teaching summer school, and he's like, we're just going to watch Cujo. That's like something... That's what Peter Venkman would do. That
is so... Yes, totally right.
Right?
And then the next day he's showing him Child's Play.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny.
It's so, the film had a task, right? Because it had to sort of carry the world forward of those original films, while also expanding it so that our concept of Ghostbusters is not merely limited to those actors.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in other words, if you look under the hood a little bit of the Ecto-1, so to speak, what's actually happening here is they're trying to Force Awakens this thing.
Dude, I have Force Awakens written in my notes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean that is now a verb. They Force Awakens did it.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
And there's good examples of legacy sequels and there's bad examples of legacy sequels.
Mhm.
And insofar as the criminal offense of those Star Wars sequels, which we've talked about, the unforgivable thing I would argue is to not bring these characters together on screen and let us see them together again. Ghostbusters Afterlife gave us the surviving Ghostbusters on screen again. We got to see them.
Right.
And I didn't realize how emotional I would get seeing that.
Yeah.
Like it kind of it shook me a little bit, and I was surprised by that.
I can understand. Yeah, I don't think it was as deep for me. I loved it. I loved seeing it. But now I'm trying to do it through this lens where you were talking about Marty. I'm like, if I were to see some movie, God forbid, actually, but like if there's some movie with like old Marty and old Doc together, I'd probably cry. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I think that was something that. But the beauty of it is that that's an essential element of the film for me. But they did such a good job of building out the world that the movie is just as much about the world the Ghostbusters exist within.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not merely a sequel. Like it's doing two things at the same time.
I liked the change of setting. It was fun seeing, the traps and the weapons and all those things in a completely different environment.
Yeah.
These rusty old like barns and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'd read somewhere that Jason Reitman said the whole nugget of an idea of this movie was he pictured a kid with the pack shooting at corn in a cornfield and making popcorn. And that was just a vision in his head, and that's where this whole thing sprang from. And I was like, I like that. That's fun.
It's amazing how these things start, right?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before. It's a shame that the 2016 movie became such a culture war flashpoint.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think you and I both said this. I think it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's totally fine. That said, I think the cardinal error Paul Feig made, and I think it's illustrated in this film, is not setting it in the world of those earlier movies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There was no reason not to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is a shame. But then again, as we alluded to earlier in the episode, we live in the multiverse age now.
Yeah.
So I think anything's on the table. But we do have some spoilers to talk about. You want to do it on the other side of this?
Let's do it.
Spoiler.
Okay, so here's a spoiler. They found a way to CGI Harold Ramis into this movie.
And here's a surprise. It's really great.
It's right.
If you said that sentence before you saw the movie, you'd be like, "Oh no."
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But it's they make a lot of smart decisions, and it ends up
very tasteful
really heartwarming.
The way they. Yeah. Now. That's what I alluded to earlier. Not only did we get to see the 3 surviving Ghostbusters, we saw all 4 Ghostbusters together again for the last time.
Yeah,
for the last time, and it was. I think this is the thing, right? Like, Ghostbusters Afterlife alludes to a level of emotion that's not in the original film. The emotion that it's drawing on is our collective emotion.
Yeah.
It can only come from having grown up with these characters. Again, as I said earlier, as your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think it's so crucial. That's what I said earlier. It's a sequel to our memories of those earlier movies.
Yeah.
And so the way in which by the way, the person who stood in for Harold Ramis is Bob Gunton. Who's from Shawshank Redemption. He's the warden. Yeah. However, in the scene at the end when Egon is holding the proton blaster with his granddaughter, that's actually Ivan Reitman in the suit.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Interesting. Which, by the way, so what do you think they did with that? I mean, that we've seen bad examples of CGI face This felt like a deep fake.
This was nearly flawless, I would say.
I would agree. Yeah,
I've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
And second time I was staring hard.
Yeah.
And it's about as seamless as I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I mean, of course,
I agree with you. It
he's
looks
a little
like
translucent, right? And you can
Yeah.
maybe put some magic around his face or whatever, but like, so good.
What's interesting, okay, so the process by which they did it, first of all, before doing anything else, Jason Reitman talked to Harold Ramis's family.
Mm.
He's like, is this something you'd be okay with? And they signed off on it.
Sure.
They said, yeah, it's fine. And so, like I said, they had Bob Gunton doing Egon scenes, and he even had the high hair and everything. And then they digitally, yeah, like you said, it sure looks like a deep fake to me.
Mm-hmm.
But
In
what's interesting,
those tend to be the best looking.
They tend to be better.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, this is something Harold Ramis's daughter, Violet, said. She's like, what she appreciated is that they made old Egon look like older Egon and not older Harold Ramis, if that makes sense.
That's interesting.
Because by the end of his life, Harold Ramis was a little heavier.
Yeah, sure.
He looked kind of like a little Santa Claus looking, and I don't mean that in a negative sense.
That's
a jolly older man, right?
Yeah,
a little heavier set. And instead, they made old Egon look like Egon.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Right. And it looked amazing. It really did.
Yeah.
So that I felt like it was the most elegant way to handle the lack of Ramis. How do you do a legacy sequel? How do you do? And the story revolves around Egon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's interesting. And so now, if you want to talk about quibbles, I think there is an argument to be made that the plot contortions that see Egon end up on this farm, the idea that his fellow Ghostbusters would not believe him is not believable.
I was going to ask you about this because basically when we begin this movie, everybody hates him.
Yeah.
And it's not something you want for a character that you care about,
Right.
So I was wondering how your feelings were on that.
I think that's a journey we go on. I think it's meaningful at the end when, first of all, another thing, they did not have Egon speak.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God for that.
Brilliant.
Right?
Yep. The right decision.
Oh my God! Right? We're talking about restraint. That's part of it. But you have these characters had a break, but at the end you have Ray. He says, "I should have believed you, my friend. I'm sorry."
Mm.
And it's beautiful. It works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about them having a break. It's about making amends. It's about giving these characters a journey, right?
Right.
And you say, well, Harold is gone, right? There's no way to do this. Like, they've contrived a way to make this story work, right? And so I say, well, that's life. Sometimes this stuff happens,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I think anyone who says, oh, well, the other Ghostbusters would never disbelieve him, whatever. I would say that would be the case if this was Ghostbusters 3.
Mm.
But it's not that.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of quibbles like that. I think another quibble is that the third act is basically the first movie on fast forward.
That's what I was holding for spoiler section. I thought it was interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Well, what do you think?
I think the third act,
yes, meaning is like they go back to the whole Gozer well, right? And
so what's funny is that they had released the scene earlier, like a while ago, where Paul Rudd is in the Walmart and he's being chased by the terror dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'd released that scene, and I saw that scene and I was like, he's gonna be the Louis Tully,
right?
That was just based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get there in the movie, I'm like, okay, so if he's the Louis Tully, then by process of elimination, Mom is the keymaster, whatever that, or it's keymaster, right? So I was like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. That was my thought.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I said in my review. The whole finale is like a call and response with the audience. It's like Freebird.
Sure.
Because it's
Well,
here's Gozer saying, "Are you a god?" Here, it's all the
Yes.
stuff.
yes.
So that I was like, okay, well that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like you're either okay with it or you're not. It's going to mean something different if you grew up with it than if you didn't, right? And I think you can be critical of that. You can be cynical about it. I would say that it's manipulative,
Yeah.
right? But then I say, you know what? Sometimes all I want is just a big warm blanket around my shoulders.
I felt overall I didn't mind it, let's say. And I think it was interesting because they sort of remixed it.
Yes.
When it literally did become, right down to the mother wearing the same dress. That's Sigourney Weaver's character. The lightning and then them turning into the dog. I was like, oh, wow, is this really going to be the ending? Because this is literally just the ending of the first movie. But then I like that it got subverted and then it moved locations and then it became about these different sort of traps. And then it became about these kids. You know what I mean? It was like a remix.
Right.
And so that is what ultimately made me be like, well, okay. In some ways that is sort of what you want to see, I guess.
Yeah.
But
well, that's the thing, right? Like, because the question surrounding these legacy sequels, right? In this age where, we're inundated with these. We really are.
Yeah.
I was browsing HBO Max. I didn't even know this exists. There's a new head of the class.
Yeah, I've read about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, like the old head of the class? And I watched the trailer for it. And there's Robin Givens as her old character from the old head of the class.
Yeah.
And she's like, you remind me of my class from, wow. And I'm like, is there like a deep well of like head of the class, heads, if you will? Right. I liked the show. I say this as a fan of the show.
Yeah.
But so in other words, we're soaking in this stuff, right?
Right.
And so there's plenty of examples of good and bad. And I think if we're looking at this on that spectrum, this is one of the better examples because I think subverting expectations works only when you're tying it in with enough fan service to justify the subversion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think this one, it has the right mix. I think again, I think you get all three original Ghostbusters back together being Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have Venkman separately like, no, I'm never doing that again. We like never see him again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you have to, it's like the end of the Dark Knight. Sometimes faith has to be rewarded. Right? I think you need that,
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have to give the audience what they want, and maybe that is manipulative, but I'm like, is that necessarily wrong?
I think it doesn't have to be if you allow your new protagonists to make a worthy contribution.
Yes.
Because then if they don't, then what's the whole point of the first half of the movie? Mm-hmm. So I think it's okay if your old heroes come back to give them an assist. Which I felt like this movie struck a pretty good balance, right? Because the kids were doing their thing and we've got the traps that were set up in the yard. So it is this whole new sort of thing. And they just needed the assist. And the people we love came back to give it. And you love to see it.
Yeah, I think that, there's a critique to be had. Like, oh, we didn't know Egon had a family. And why would Egon abandon his family and all that stuff? And I think all of that is well stated. But I'm also like, well, what can we do?
Sure.
Like Harold is gone. This is the story we have.
Sure.
So I'm sort of, maybe I'm backing into it a little bit because it's like, well, it's either this or nothing,
Right.
So maybe I am sort of making excuses for it, but I also can't deny that I had a big dumb grin on my face when this movie ended.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. And
it made.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, but I had a big dumb grin pretty much the whole way through.
Yeah.
Like, I think the ending, of course, for those reasons and whatnot, but like, I found the new kids.
Yeah.
I wasn't waiting for the familiar people to show up. Right. Like, I was plugged into the discovery and the fun that our new characters were going through.
What I enjoyed,
Paul Rudd in opening the trap, and with the buses.
Yeah, And to your point, I think that's what really appealed to me about the first 2/3 is you're watching somebody discovering a surprise you already know about. So you're like, like when when Finn Wolfhard, when he finds the Ecto-1, and when, like this is all stuff we know already, but we get to watch them discover it, and that's exciting.
Yeah, and that whole scene with the kids ripping through the city with the girl in the gunner seat. I mean, chef's kiss. Like that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? Like that was absolute blast.
I also really liked, Phoebe is socially awkward and whatever, and her, that moment when she tells her mom, like, because her mom is like saying whatever about Egon, and she's like, he was like me, he was a scientist, he was special,
Yeah.
And you feel that, and again, it's partially, it's for me, it's like, yeah, because we know Egon. Egon's awesome.
Yeah.
So no, you're wrong, Carrie Coon.
You know, a moment I loved. I thought McKenna Grace was so good when she was telling that joke to Paul Rudd, and then she winks.
Yeah,
and he's like, yes. She's so flat, and he's like, "Was that a joke?" And she's like, "Yes, that's why I winked." Made me laugh so hard.
Paul Rudd was great in this. It was like he just showed up. He just showed up to Paul Rudd his way through this thing.
Is there a more likable guy? I mean, it's like cheating. He's just so freaking likable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, afterwards, Sean, I didn't read those notes that he sent to the both of us after he'd seen it, because I hadn't seen it yet. So I looked at them last night. I do agree, actually, with one of his criticisms, which is, in the first movie, you really do see New York under siege to some degree. Yeah. And so it's like, all right, we got a job to do, and we know where it's centrally located, so let's do this. So the whole city's like, please go, yes, help us. And I do wish we had seen a bit more.
I agree.
Of what does it mean to this town? Like, what's happening? Like we do see like a ghoul.
I mean, there's like 10 people in this town, it feels like. Right?
That's true. But like we do see like, this ghoul or monster or whatever at like the coffee counter in a place and whatnot. But we don't really get to see I think Sean said this, but it's like you almost want to see the town like, help us. And then the sheriff like almost opening the gate with the proton pack and be like, take it. Like you kind of want to see a little bit more of the stakes of what, with this all being unleashed. But that's a nitpick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and I'm going to say it again. The score worked so well to connect these, didn't it?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. I thought that was really fun. Having directly lifting the score over that scene where she's using the proton pack to shoot the bottles.
Oh yeah.
Just absolute. Just joy. I just felt joy watching it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed listening to the soundtrack for this one.
Yeah.
I think that when you look at how effortlessly Bill Murray becomes Peter Venkman again, what a damn shame that he was like the holdout all these decades.
Sure.
Because he just slips right into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just, I mean, it's Bill Murray being Bill Murray, right?
Sure.
We love Bill Murray, but you're like, man, like again, I'm just like, I never in a million years thought I'd see Peter Venkman again.
Yeah.
I also, we alluded to this in our Ghostbusters commentary about Winston. I was like, I love that they made Winston like the guy, like he's the linchpin of the whole thing. Because now what the certainly the post credits. Did you stick around all the way until the end?
Yeah.
That sure seems to imply that he's going to be the money man behind the Ghostbusters. And I like that we've got a framework in place now where they can pretty much do what they want in terms of having a quote unquote more traditional Ghostbusters movie.
Right. And
you could have a new cast. You could have some of the kids in this one. I mean, it's pretty much wide open. And you don't even need to have all of the original Ghostbusters in it anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we got the farewell, if this be it.
Yes.
And now you can have Winston, and you don't have to be asking, oh, but where's Venkman?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah.
Like we got to see all of them suited up once more, maybe one last time. That's fine. The universe continues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, another thing I've seen a lot of online is that this ignores the second film, and I don't know how one could come away with that interpretation, since it very clearly does not. But
they reference. It's funny, they talk about things that happened in the past, and they don't reference like the Statue of Liberty walking around, which you imagine they would throw into the mix.
Well, but Paul Rudd says there hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years.
Right.
So he doesn't say 37 years or whatever, right?
Yeah.
30 years would be roughly Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not making a case. I'm just saying.
And the other thing is that Ray's occult books, I mean, that's from the second movie.
Right.
So I don't think Jason Reitman wants to decanonize his own appearance in Ghostbusters.
Oh, no. Oh, I mean, I was definitely... I wasn't saying, yeah.
He's in the second movie. I don't know if people listening know that. He's the little kid at the beginning.
At the birthday thing?
At the birthday party. He says, my dad says you guys are full of crap.
That's funny.
Which is pretty funny.
Got a couple cameos in here. We got J.K. Simmons, by the way.
J.K. Simmons for what, like 10 seconds?
Yeah. And then Olivia Wilde, right, as Gozer?
As Gozer, yeah. So Olivia Wilde has probably one of the most distinctive faces, where you can pile all manner of makeup on her. You're like, nope, that is Olivia Wilde.
Yeah. Immediately, Federica leaned over and was like, that's Olivia Wilde.
Yeah. So J.K. Simmons, I'm assuming it's because he's buddies with Reitman, right?
I think he's like Nolan's Michael Caine.
Okay.
I think he's in all of Reitman's movies.
Because he's in Juno and a whole bunch of stuff.
The others?
Yeah. The others.
I'm always sticking up for Young Adult. I think that's a great movie.
I've not seen that one. Is he in that?
I'd be willing to bet. Let's put it that
way. He's in, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear he's fantastic in Being the Ricardos.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
I know. I have a screener. He plays William Frawley, who was, played Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy. And you're like, oh my God, I can just imagine that,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm so curious. So curious.
So J.K. Simmons is in it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Long enough to get torn in half.
I was like, holy crap.
I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. And again, the last third is just, it's Freebird for the Ghostbusters fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with it. Speaking of cameos, there's the mid-credit scene where they brought back Dana Barrett.
Yeah, which they do in the most clever way, right? Where they're listing all the actors and you're sticking around because one.
Yep.
And then they're like, in Sigourney Weaver, and you're like, what?
Like, huh?
And then it immediately cuts to the scene with Sigourney Weaver. You're like, oh.
So here's why I liked that scene. Obviously, it's a cute, payoff of the scene in the first Ghostbusters where he does the ESP test. But the other thing is it tells me that Peter and Dana stayed together.
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I was like, this little thing. I'm like, no, yeah, that 30 years later, they're still together.
They're this fun elderly couple now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That made me happy.
Agreed.
So yeah, but wow, 2 thumbs up for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I am very surprised.
Yeah. No, I think there are nits you could pick, and I wouldn't argue with you. But like, I went in tired, ready to be entertained, and
now the reason, folks, Brian would not argue with you is because he thinks you are not worth it. You're not worth his time. Remember that.
That's right.
That's what Brian thinks of you.
Well, you can catch me at Disney Plus, Disney Junior.
Oh, goodness. No, of course. That is untrue, of course. Brian is full of love. I'm the one who is the seething cauldron of just resentment and rage.
We love everybody.
We tried to.
Yeah.
We tried to. But that wraps up our Ghostbusters discussion. But we will be back soon with our long delayed, much anticipated, hopefully, but soon to come Matrix Reloaded commentary track. That's coming next week.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm so excited! I've been watching those TV ads, that they're posting online for the new Matrix, and gosh, there's so much stuff. I'm still excited for Licorice Pizza. West Side Story is getting like these crazy great reviews.
Yeah.
The new Matrix film coming up in a couple weeks. Like a lot I'm looking forward to.
We got a new Spider-Man movie coming. So here's the thing that just happened. So as you know, Spider-Man tickets went on sale earlier in the week, and AMC and all these ticket sites, they crashed.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Because everybody was trying to get tickets. So I happened to be up at like 3 a.m. and I logged into the AMC site, and after like a minute of waiting, I was able to get in, and I snaked some tickets for Saturday morning. It's Saturday morning that the movie opens. Okay. Now here's the thing, Brian. Here's the little pickle I found myself in. I had told my 8-year-old, he's my fourth son. I told him when I have my early screening of Spider-Man No Way Home, you will come with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Saturday morning, I bought tickets for myself and my 3 older sons, right? So as we are talking, you and I, just now, I get an email that says, you are invited to an advanced screening of Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm like, oh, hey, fantastic. Yeah. And it says here, please note, this invite is for you only. No guests will be permitted. So now I have a problem because...
Is it sold out the Saturday morning?
I'm pretty sure. So picture me comically pulling my collar.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Yes, so that's going to be a thing that I need to figure out now. We'll see how it goes.
I've got to say, by the way, going to the movies lately, we talked about several weeks ago that it used to be an ArcLight, right? And it's turned into a Regal cinema now. And through that happening, I was reading on Deadline that apparently this location is one of the most populated movie theaters in the area. Typically,
really?
Makes a lot of money. So, which I didn't know. And I've been kind of surprised, even going to these big movies opening weekend, they're still relatively empty. And so reading this story about Spider-Man selling out, I was like, wow, that is just wildly different than what I'm experiencing even for some of the bigger films lately. So
right.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot you could unpack from that, but also, I mean, Disney's got to be happy about that.
I mean, it's weird to me because I mean, it looks fine, right?
Yeah.
But the fervor is kind of escaping me because I'm kind of like, look, you're going to be able to see this thing. It's not some indie 2-night event, you know?
I would have never imagined I would have to buy tickets in advance.
Right, exactly.
Based on my experience at this theater recently.
Yeah, so that's kind of a weird one for me, but we'll see what happens, I guess. So that's my particular dilemma. Let's see how that
to
goes.
Be continued.
By the way, wanted to mention also vis-a-vis our Ghostbusters conversation. After watching Afterlife, I revisited the 2016 movie with my kids, and I asked my second, my he's going to be 13 in a few weeks. I said, hey, which one did you like? This one better, the 2016 one, or Afterlife better? And he said, I like the 2016 one better.
Oh, interesting.
And I said, why do you have this wrong opinion? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that at all. Actually, I love, he keeps it real, and that's what I really like. Yeah. And he said, I like this one more because it felt more like Ghostbusters to me.
Well, you know what? So, I actually can imagine that. I mean, this new one, as I said, I mean, it feels like an Amblin movie.
Yes.
And that's probably why it appealed to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one is a comedy, and the 2016 one is a comedy.
That's right. Yeah, so. This has comedic elements, but it's not a comedy per se. That's absolutely.
They're almost more situational, really, than sort of jokes.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Right. So make of that what you will.
I like knowing that. That's really fascinating.
I always appreciate his perspective on these things.
Yeah,
so I'm grateful for that. All right, so with that, we will go ahead and put a pin in this discussion. And we'll be back soon. If you have any questions or comments for us about this discussion or any others, you can reach us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. It's also my website, justadded.com. You can also find my writing at IGN and also at the San Francisco Chronicle. You can read my review of Ghostbusters Afterlife at the Chronicle. And also, just recently, I dropped my thoughts on season 2 of Saved by the Bell on Peacock.
Oh.
Speaking of legacy sequels, there's another one.
Yeah.
It's still an enjoyable show, in my opinion.
Wow, I can't believe season 2 already exists.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah, seems fast.
Also, as always, please go to iTunes, leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps, and we appreciate whenever you're able to do that. Brian, anything you want to hype up while we got you?
Yeah, Puppy Dog Pals is still dropping, and I had one that came out recently that I remember having a ton of fun writing, and when I watched it, it felt exactly how I remembered it, like the fun that I had writing it, and it just translated with these artists, coming up with all these crazy, fun visuals. It was just a blast. I had a blast watching it, so I was really proud of it. It was called Runaway Wedding Ring. Anyway, you can catch that on Disney, Disney Plus, and Disney Junior.
There you go. And with that, we will bring the curtain down on MovieFilm 236, but we'll be back soon with our Matrix 2 commentary, so hope you will listen for that. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.